Have you ever met someone and felt an inexplicable connection that seemed to transcend ordinary attraction? A feeling so profound that it left you questioning everything you thought you knew about love and relationships? Carl Jung, one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century, believed that certain relationships are far more than mere chance encounters. They are profound psychological events that can transform us at the deepest levels of our being. Jung's revolutionary concepts of the collective unconscious, synchronicity, and the process of individuation offer us a unique lens through which to understand why some relationships feel destined, while others, despite our best efforts, seem to fall flat. Today, we'll explore 11 powerful signs that, according to Jungian psychology, indicate you may have encountered someone you're truly meant to be with. But before we dive into these signs, let's understand what Jung meant when he spoke about meaningful relationships. For Jung, a truly significant relationship wasn't just about compatibility or shared interests. It was about two people coming together to facilitate each other's psychological growth and wholeness. He believed that we are drawn to certain individuals because they carry aspects of ourselves that we need to integrate to become complete human beings. This isn't about finding someone who completes you in the popular romantic sense. Rather, it's about recognizing someone whose psychological makeup creates the perfect conditions for mutual transformation and growth. Jung called this process individuation, the lifelong journey of becoming who we truly are meant to be. The 11 signs we're about to explore aren't just romantic indicators. They're psychological markers that suggest a relationship has the potential to be truly transformative. Some of these signs might surprise you, especially sign number 7, which Jung considered one of the most powerful indicators of a destined connection. So whether you're currently in a relationship and wondering if it's the right one, or you're single and hoping to recognize true connection when it arrives, these insights from one of psychology's greatest minds will help you understand the deeper currents that flow beneath the surface of meaningful relationships. Sign 1. Immediate recognition, despite being strangers. The first sign Jung identified is perhaps the most mysterious: the feeling of immediate recognition when meeting someone for the first time. You look into their eyes and feel as though you've known them forever, despite having just met. This isn't simply physical attraction or infatuation. It's something much deeper and more unsettling. Jung explained this phenomenon through his concept of the collective unconscious. He believed that beneath our personal unconscious mind lies a deeper layer shared by all humanity, containing what he called archetypes. These are universal patterns and images that have evolved over millions of years of human experience. When we encounter someone who activates these deep archetypal patterns, we experience a sense of recognition that transcends our personal history. This recognition often manifests as an uncanny familiarity. You might find yourself finishing each other's sentences before you've had a chance to learn each other's communication patterns. You might discover that you've had similar dreams, made similar life choices at similar times, or developed parallel interests despite it growing up in completely different environments. But here's what makes this different from everyday compatibility. The recognition comes with a sense of inevitability. It's not just that you like this person or find them interesting. There's a feeling that meeting them was somehow meant to happen. that forces beyond your conscious control have brought you together. Jung observed that this type of recognition often comes with a slight sense of disorientation. You might find yourself thinking, "This is strange. I don't usually feel this way about people." That's because you're not just responding to the person in front of you. You're responding to archetypal energies that have been activated by your encounter. This phenomenon is different from what psychologists call the mere exposure effect, where we tend to like people more after we've seen them repeatedly. Jungian recognition happens immediately and often intensifies rather than fades with time. It's as if your psyche recognizes something essential in this person that your conscious mind hasn't yet understood. Many people report that when they experience this recognition, they feel simultaneously excited and terrified. Excited because the connection feels so profound and meaningful. Terrified because it challenges their sense of control over their own emotional life. Suddenly, they're feeling things they didn't expect to feel for someone they barely know. This recognition often extends beyond the person themselves to their life circumstances. You might find that their story resonates with yours in unexpected ways, that their struggles mirror your own, or that their journey seems to complement the path you've been walking. It's as if you've been traveling parallel roads that have suddenly converged. Sign 2. Synchronicities surround your relationship. Carl Jung coined the term synchronicity to describe meaningful coincidences that seem to suggest a deeper order underlying reality. When you're with someone you're meant to be with, Jung observed, synchronicities begin to multiply around your relationship in ways that can be both amazing and unsettling. These aren't just random coincidences. They're patterns of meaningful connection that seem to support and guide your relationship. You might discover that you were both in the same place at the same time years before you met, that you have mutual friends you didn't know about, or that significant events in your lives happened on the same dates. One of Jung's patients once told him about meeting her future husband when they both reached for the same book in a library. The book was about Carl Jung. Later, they discovered they had both attended the same conference on psychology 3 years earlier, sitting just 2 rows apart. On their first date, they went to a restaurant where the waiter turned out to be someone who had known both of them in different contexts. These weren't just coincidences to Jung. They were indications that their relationship was being guided by forces beyond ordinary causation. Synchronicities in destined relationships often involve what Jung called meaningful patterns. Numbers might repeat in significant ways. You might keep seeing references to places, ideas, or symbols that are meaningful to both of you. Songs that capture your feelings might come on the radio at precisely the right moments. Books, movies, or articles that speak to your relationship might appear in your life with surprising frequency. But here's what makes these synchronicities truly meaningful, according to Jung. They're not just random positive coincidences. They often provide guidance or insight exactly when you need it most. Or when you're facing a difficult decision about the relationship, circumstances might align to provide clarity. When you're feeling disconnected, events might occur that bring you back together in profound ways. Jung believed that synchronicities occur when our inner psychological state aligns with external events in meaningful ways. In relationships, this suggests that both people are in a state of psychological openness and growth that allows these deeper patterns to manifest. The universe, in Jung's view, is not random, but filled with meaningful connections that become visible when we're in the right state of consciousness to perceive them. These synchronicities often extend to your separate lives as well. You might find that when one of you is going through a particular challenge, the other is simultaneously developing exactly the skills or insights needed to help. Or you might discover that your individual growth spurts happen in complementary ways, as if you're unconsciously coordinating your development. Many people find these synchronicities both thrilling and slightly overwhelming. There's something profound about feeling that the universe itself seems to support your connection. But Jung warned that synchronicities shouldn't be taken as guarantees. They're invitations to pay attention, to recognize that something meaningful is happening, and to approach the relationship with the seriousness it deserves. Sign 3. You challenge each other's shadow. This third sign might be the most uncomfortable to acknowledge, but Jung considered it essential for any relationship that would lead to real growth. When you're with someone you're meant to be with, they will inevitably confront you with aspects of yourself that you'd rather not see. Jung called these hidden aspects our shadow, and he believed that integrating them was crucial for psychological wholeness. Your shadow consists of all the parts of yourself that you've rejected, denied, or tried to hide. These might be negative traits you don't want to admit you have, positive qualities you've been taught to suppress, or simply aspects of human nature you've never allowed yourself to explore. When we're with someone we're truly compatible with on a soul level, they have an uncanny ability to bring these shadow elements to the surface. This might manifest as your partner triggering emotions in you that surprise you with their intensity. You might find yourself feeling jealous when you've never considered yourself a jealous person, or angry in ways that seem disproportionate to the situation. Rather than seeing these as signs of incompatibility, Jung would suggest they're invitations to explore parts of yourself you've kept hidden. The person you're meant to be with won't just trigger your shadow, they'll also help you integrate it. They'll create a safe space for you to explore these uncomfortable aspects of yourself without judgment. They might even model healthy ways of expressing traits you've always tried to suppress. If you've always been overly agreeable, they might show you how to set boundaries. If you've been emotionally guarded, they might demonstrate healthy vulnerability. This shadow work isn't comfortable. It requires you to face aspects of yourself that you might have spent years trying to avoid. Your partner might point out patterns in your behavior that you don't want to see. They might refuse to enable your defense mechanisms or call you out when you're being inauthentic. In less mature relationships, this kind of challenge leads to conflict and eventual separation. In relationships where you're truly meant to be together, it leads to growth and deeper intimacy. Jung observed that this shadow confrontation often happens in cycles. You'll have periods of relative harmony, followed by times when everything your partner does seems to irritate or challenge you. Rather than seeing these challenging periods as problems to be solved, Jung suggested viewing them as opportunities for growth. Your partner is serving as a mirror, showing you aspects of yourself that need attention. The key indicator that this is healthy shadow work rather than simple incompatibility is that these challenges ultimately make you feel more like yourself, not less. When someone is meant to be in your life, Their challenges to your shadow help you become more whole, more authentic, more integrated. You don't feel like you need to become someone else to please them. Instead, you feel supported in becoming more fully who you really are. This process requires tremendous courage from both partners. It means being willing to see yourself clearly and to be seen clearly in return. It means accepting that growth sometimes involves discomfort, and that love sometimes requires us to challenge each other rather than simply offering constant validation. Sign 4. Shared dreams and unconscious connections. The fourth sign that you're meant to be together is perhaps one of the most mystical aspects of Jung's relationship theory, the experience of shared dreams and unconscious connections. Jung documented numerous cases where couples reported having similar dreams, receiving insights about each other through dreams, or experiencing what seemed like telepathic connections during sleep. This phenomenon goes beyond the normal empathy that develops between close partners. Jung believed that when two people are psychologically attuned at a deep level, their unconscious minds can actually communicate with each other. This might manifest as literal shared dreams, where both partners dream about similar scenarios, people, or symbols on the same night. More commonly, it appears as dreams that provide insight into your partner's inner world or guidance about your relationship. One of Jung's case studies involved a couple who discovered they had been dreaming about each other for months before they met. The woman had recurring dreams about a man who matched her future partner's description exactly, down to a distinctive scar on his hand. The man had dreams about finding a lost book that belonged to a woman who looked exactly like his future partner. When they finally met and shared these dreams, they realized they had been unconsciously connected long before their conscious minds brought them together. But shared unconscious connections aren't limited to dreams. Many couples report knowing when their partner is in distress, even when they're physically separated. They might wake up at night with a strong urge to call their partner, only to discover that their partner was going through a difficult moment at exactly that time. They might have sudden insights into their partner's emotional state that prove to be accurate, even when their partner hasn't communicated anything directly. Jung explained this through his concept of the collective unconscious. He believed that at the deepest levels of the psyche, we're all connected through shared archetypal patterns. When two people form a deep bond, this connection can become particularly strong, allowing information to flow between their unconscious minds. These unconscious connections often provide guidance for the relationship itself. You might dream about solutions to problems you're facing together, or receive insight into how to support your partner through a difficult time. Some couples report that their dreams seem to be working through relationship issues, even when their waking minds haven't fully processed what's happening between them. The timing of these connections is often significant. They frequently occur during periods of transition or decision-making in the relationship. Just when you need guidance about whether to take the next step forward, you might receive a dream that provides clarity. When your partner is struggling with something they haven't shared with you, you might wake up with a clear sense of how to support them. These experiences can be profound validation that your connection goes beyond the ordinary. But Jung cautioned against becoming too dependent on these phenomena. They're signs of deep connection, not substitutes for conscious communication and effort. The strongest relationships combine these mystical connections with practical compatibility and mutual commitment to growth. Sign 5. You bring out each other's authentic self. The fifth sign reveals itself in how you feel when you're with this person compared to how you feel in other relationships. With someone you're truly meant to be with, you experience a profound sense of being able to be completely yourself. But this isn't just about comfort or acceptance. It's about feeling more authentically yourself than you do when you're alone. Jung believed that we all carry within us an idealized version of who we could become, what he called the self with a capital S. This isn't our ego-driven image of success or perfection, but rather our deepest potential for wholeness and authenticity. When we're with someone we're meant to be with, they somehow activate this authentic self, making it easier for us to access and express who we really are at our core. This manifests in subtle but powerful ways. You might find that your sense of humor becomes more natural and spontaneous around this person. Your creativity might flourish in their presence. You might discover aspects of your personality that you didn't even know existed, or rediscover parts of yourself that you had lost touch with over the years. Many people report feeling like they can breathe around this person in a way they can't with others. There's no need to maintain a persona or hide aspects of yourself. Your quirks, your vulnerabilities, your dreams, your fears, everything can be shared without judgment. But more than that, these aspects of yourself are not just accepted, but genuinely appreciated. This authentic expression goes both ways. You'll also find that you naturally bring out your partner's authentic self. Without trying to change them or improve them, your presence somehow makes it easier for them to be genuinely themselves. This creates a positive feedback loop where both of you become more real, more alive, more truly yourselves when you're together. Jung distinguished this from mere compatibility or chemistry. Compatible people can get along well and enjoy each other's company. People with chemistry feel attracted to each other and excited by the connection. But when someone brings out your authentic self, something deeper is happening. You're not just enjoying their company or feeling attracted to them. You're experiencing a fundamental shift in how accessible your own true nature becomes. This often includes accessing parts of yourself that you might have suppressed or forgotten. If you've always been the responsible one, you might find yourself feeling more playful and spontaneous. If you've been overly serious, you might discover a lighter side of yourself. If you've been emotionally guarded, you might find yourself naturally more open and vulnerable. The person you're meant to be with doesn't try to make you into someone else. They don't have a project of improving you or fixing your flaws. Instead, their very presence seems to give you permission to be more of who you already are. They love you not for who you could become, but for who you authentically are right now, while simultaneously inspiring you to grow into your fullest potential. This authentic expression often extends beyond your relationship with each other. Friends and family might comment that you seem more like yourself, more alive, or more genuine since this person entered your life. You might find that other areas of your life improve, not because your partner is helping you directly, but because being more authentically yourself in one relationship allows you to be more authentic everywhere. Sign 6. Time feels different when you're together. The sixth sign involves a phenomenon that Jung observed in many meaningful relationships: the experience of time seeming to behave differently when you're with this person. This isn't just about time flying when you're having fun, although that certainly happens. It's something more profound and mysterious. Jung was fascinated by how psychological states could alter our perception of time. When we're in states of deep connection or heightened consciousness, our usual experience of linear time can shift dramatically. With someone you're meant to be with, you might find that hours feel like minutes when you're together. But those same hours also feel incredibly full and meaningful. Many couples report that even brief conversations with this person can feel more substantial and nourishing than lengthy interactions with others. A 15-minute phone call might leave you feeling as satisfied as if you had spent an entire evening together. Conversely, you might spend an entire day together and feel like you barely had enough time to scratch the surface of what you wanted to share. This altered time perception often manifests in your sense of the relationship's history as well. Couples frequently report feeling like they've known each other forever, even when they've only been together for a short time. The depth of intimacy and understanding that develops can make weeks feel like months or years in terms of how much you've learned about each other and grown together. Jung connected this phenomenon to what he called kairos versus chronos, two different ways of experiencing time that come from Greek philosophy. Chronos is mechanical, linear time measured by clocks and calendars. Kairos is psychological time, the sense of the right or meaningful moment. When you're with someone you're meant to be with, you spend much more time in kairos than chronos. This might manifest as perfect timing in your interactions. You call each other at exactly the right moments. You say exactly what the other person needs to hear without planning it. Your needs and availability seem to synchronize in ways that feel almost magical. When one of you has free time, the other is usually available. When one of you needs support, the other is naturally ready to provide it. The altered time perception also extends to your sense of the future together. While new relationships often involve uncertainty about long-term compatibility with someone you're meant to be with, the future can feel surprisingly clear and certain. This isn't about making detailed plans or having everything figured out. It's more about a deep sense that whatever comes, you'll face it together. Some couples report experiencing moments of timelessness together, moments when they become so absorbed in connection with each other that they lose track of time entirely. These might be during deep conversations, moments of physical intimacy, or even comfortable silences. In these moments, the usual boundaries of self and other, past and future, seem to dissolve temporarily. Jung believed that this altered experience of time was a sign that the relationship was activating deeper layers of the psyche where our usual categories of experience don't apply. At the deepest levels of connection, we touch something eternal and timeless. This doesn't mean the relationship exists outside of ordinary reality, but rather that it opens doorways to experiences that transcend our usual limitations. This different relationship with time often helps couples navigate challenges more effectively. Instead of feeling pressured by external timelines or social expectations, they develop their own rhythm and pacing. They trust that their connection will unfold in its own time and in its own way. Sign 7. You experience mutual psychological transformation. Here we arrive at the 7th sign, the one Jung considered perhaps the most significant indicator of a truly destined connection. When you're with someone you're meant to be with, you don't just grow individually. You experience profound mutual psychological transformation that fundamentally changes who you are as people. This isn't about changing to please each other or adapting to fit together better. It's about catalyzing genuine psychological evolution in each other. Jung observed that certain relationships serve as alchemical vessels where both partners undergo a process he called individuation, becoming who they're truly meant to be at the deepest level. This transformation often begins subtly. You might notice that beliefs you've held for years start to shift naturally. Patterns of behavior that have defined you begin to evolve. Fears that have limited you start to dissolve. But here's what makes this different from ordinary personal growth. The changes happen in response to and in harmony with your partner's own evolution. You're not just healing your own wounds, you're helping each other heal. You're not just discovering your own potential, you're calling forth each other's greatness. The growth isn't parallel, it's deeply interconnected. Your partner's breakthrough might be exactly what you need to make your own next leap forward. Your moment of insight might provide the key your partner needs to unlock their next level of development. Jung noticed that this mutual transformation often involves what he called holding space for each other's becoming. This means being able to support your partner through periods of change without trying to control the outcome or rush the process. It requires a deep trust in each other's essential wisdom and goodness, even when the transformation process gets messy or uncomfortable. This might look like one partner supporting the other through a career change that requires years of preparation and uncertainty. It might involve holding steady while your partner works through childhood trauma or rediscovers parts of themselves they've kept hidden. It might mean encouraging each other to take risks, pursue dreams, or make changes that temporarily disrupt your comfortable routines. The transformation is often reciprocal in timing. Just when one partner is ready to make a significant change, the other partner is psychologically prepared to support that change. Or you might find that you take turns being the one who's growing and the one who's providing stability. There's a natural rhythm to your mutual development that doesn't have to be negotiated or planned. But perhaps most remarkably, this transformation often results in both partners becoming more themselves, not more similar to each other. You're not losing your individual identity in the relationship. Instead, the relationship is helping you discover and express aspects of yourself that you might never have accessed alone. This process can be intense and sometimes challenging. Transformation involves letting go of old patterns, beliefs, and ways of being that no longer serve you. It requires courage to become someone new, even when that someone is more authentically yourself. Your partner becomes both a mirror for your growth and a safe haven during periods of change. Jung believed that this mutual transformation was one of the primary purposes of deeply meaningful relationships. We're drawn to specific people, not just for companionship or even love, but because they carry the key to our next level of psychological development. In loving them and being loved by them, we become more fully ourselves than we ever could have alone. Sign 8. you share similar life wounds and healing patterns. The eighth sign reveals itself in the recognition that you and your partner have experienced similar life wounds, often in remarkably parallel ways. But more than that, your healing journeys complement each other in ways that seem almost perfectly designed to facilitate mutual recovery and growth. Jung believed that we're drawn to people who share our archetypal wounds, deep psychological patterns that often stem from early life experiences, but connect to universal human challenges. These might be wounds around abandonment, rejection, betrayal, inadequacy, or powerlessness. When you encounter someone who carries similar wounds, there's often an immediate recognition and understanding that goes beyond ordinary empathy. This doesn't mean you've had identical experiences. Your childhood might have been completely different from your partner's, but the psychological impact might be remarkably similar. Perhaps you both learned to be overly self-reliant due to early experiences of being let down by caregivers. Perhaps you both developed patterns of people-pleasing to avoid rejection. Perhaps you both built walls around your hearts to protect against the fear of being truly seen and found wanting. What makes this a sign of being meant to be together is how your healing journeys interweave. Your partner might be strong exactly where you're wounded, providing natural healing for your specific form of pain. Simultaneously, your strengths might address their deepest hurts. You become medicine for each other in the most literal sense. This healing often happens through what Jung called corrective emotional experiences. If your wound involves feeling unseen or unheard, your partner might have a natural ability to truly witness and validate your experience. If their wound involves feeling unsafe or unprotected, you might naturally provide the steady, reliable presence they need to heal. These aren't conscious strategies. They're organic responses that emerge from your psychological compatibility. But the healing isn't just about receiving what you need. It's also about learning to give what your partner needs, which often involves developing capacities you didn't know you had. In learning to provide safety for a partner whose wound involves betrayal, you might develop trustworthiness and reliability that transform other areas of your life. In learning to offer validation to someone who feels invisible, you might develop emotional attunement that enriches all your relationships. This shared healing journey often involves what Jung called wounded healer dynamics. Because you understand your partner's pain from the inside, you can offer a quality of compassion and support that someone who hasn't experienced similar struggles simply couldn't provide. Your own healing becomes a roadmap for helping your partner heal, while their progress inspires and encourages your own recovery. The timing of your healing often synchronizes in meaningful ways. Just when one of you is ready to face a particular aspect of your wound, the other might have developed exactly the strength needed to support that process. Or you might find that working through similar issues together creates a powerful synergy where both of you heal faster and more completely than you could have alone. This doesn't mean the relationship is based on mutual neediness or dysfunction. Healthy relationships with this dynamic involve two people who are actively committed to their own healing and growth, not two people looking for someone else to fix their problems. You're not trying to heal each other. You're healing yourselves in a context that naturally supports and accelerates the process. Sign 9. Your values align at core levels. despite surface differences. The ninth sign might surprise you, because it's about deep alignment that can coexist with significant surface-level differences. When you're with someone you're meant to be with, you discover that your fundamental values, your deepest beliefs about what makes life meaningful, align remarkably, even if your personalities, interests, or backgrounds are quite different. Jung distinguished between what he called persona values and self-values. Persona values are the beliefs we adopt based on our social roles, cultural background, or conscious identity. Self-values emerge from our deepest core and represent what we truly believe matters most in life. When you're with someone you're meant to be with, your self-values resonate, even when your persona values might seem incompatible. This might manifest as discovering that despite having different political opinions, you both share fundamental beliefs about treating people with dignity and respect. Despite coming from different religious backgrounds, you might find that your spiritual values around meaning, purpose, and transcendence are remarkably aligned. Despite having different lifestyle preferences, you might discover that your core values around growth, authenticity, and connection are essentially the same. These value alignments often surprise both partners because they occur at levels deeper than conscious belief systems. You might find that you approach major life decisions from similar frameworks, even when you arrive at different specific choices. Your definitions of success, your attitudes toward challenges, your beliefs about what makes relationships work. These deeper orientations align in ways that create natural harmony. Jung observed that this value alignment often becomes apparent during times of crisis or major decision-making. When life presents significant challenges, you discover that you and your partner instinctively approach problems from compatible angles. You might have different strategies or preferences, but your fundamental approach to what matters most remains aligned. This doesn't mean you never disagree or have different perspectives. In fact, the surface-level differences often enrich the relationship by bringing diverse experiences and viewpoints. But underneath these differences, there's a shared foundation that creates safety and understanding. You can explore different ideas without fear that your partner will judge your core character or question your fundamental worth. The alignment often extends to your vision of what you want to create together. Even before you discuss specific goals or plans, you might discover that your basic orientation toward the future is compatible. Whether that involves building a family, creating something meaningful in the world, or simply living with integrity and purpose, your fundamental direction feels aligned. This value alignment also shows up in how you treat each other and other people. Your standards for how relationships should work, how conflicts should be handled, how growth should be supported, these deeper frameworks tend to be naturally compatible. You don't have to negotiate basic respect or kindness. It flows naturally from shared values about human dignity and love. Jung believed that this deep value alignment was often karmic or archetypal, that souls with similar fundamental orientations were naturally drawn to each other to fulfill shared purposes or learn complementary lessons. Whether or not you believe in such metaphysical explanations, the practical result is a relationship built on solid ground that can weather surface-level differences and changes. Sign 10. You feel energetically supported and expanded. The 10th sign manifests in how you feel on an energetic level when you're with this person. Jung was deeply interested in what he called psychic energy, the life force that animates our psychological processes. When you're with someone you're meant to be with, you don't just feel emotionally supported, you feel energetically nourished and expanded in ways that are difficult to explain but impossible to ignore. This isn't about feeling energized in the way that excitement or stimulation might energize you. It's something deeper and more sustainable. In this person's presence, you feel more alive, more vital, more connected to your own life force. Activities that normally drain you might feel effortless when you're together. Challenges that usually overwhelm you might feel manageable with their support. Many people describe this as feeling like they can plug in and recharge when they're with this person. But it's not that your partner is giving you their energy or that you're dependent on them for vitality. Instead, their presence somehow helps you access your own energy more fully. They create conditions where your natural vitality can flow more freely. This energetic support often manifests practically as well. You might find that you accomplish more, create more, or feel more motivated when you're in this relationship. Projects that felt impossible alone become achievable together. Dreams that seemed too big to pursue feel realistic and exciting. Your capacity for work, play, and life in general expands. Jung connected this to his observations about how certain psychological combinations can be greater than the sum of their parts. When two people's energy systems are naturally compatible, they don't just coexist peacefully. They amplify each other. Your strengths become stronger in their presence. Your natural talents feel more accessible. Your confidence and capability expand. This energetic expansion often extends beyond what you accomplish together to who you become individually. Friends and colleagues might notice that you seem more vibrant, more present, or more engaged with life. You might find that your health improves, your sleep becomes more restful, or your general sense of well-being increases. The relationship doesn't drain your resources. It helps you access resources you didn't know you had. But this energetic support isn't always about feeling high or excited. Sometimes it manifests as feeling more grounded, more centered, or more at peace. In a world that often feels chaotic or depleting, this person's presence provides a sense of coming home to yourself. You feel less scattered, less anxious, more able to handle whatever life brings. This energetic compatibility often shows up in physical ways as well. You might sleep better next to this person. Your appetite might become more natural and healthy. You might feel more comfortable in your own body. Physical intimacy feels nourishing rather than draining, leaving both of you feeling more vital rather than depleted. Jung believed that this energetic support was a sign that two people's psychological systems were naturally designed to work together. Like instruments that naturally harmonize, your energy systems complement and enhance each other rather than competing or conflicting. This creates a sustainable foundation for long-term partnership that goes beyond emotional or intellectual compatibility. Sign 11. Your individual life purposes. Begin to merge. The 11th and final sign is perhaps the most profound. You begin to recognize that your individual life purposes are not separate paths that happen to intersect, but aspects of a larger shared purpose that neither of you could fulfill alone. This isn't about losing your individual identity or abandoning your personal goals. It's about discovering that your deepest purposes in life are naturally complementary and mutually supporting. Jung believed that each person comes into life with what he called a life task, a unique contribution they're meant to make to the world. This isn't necessarily a career or a specific achievement, but rather a way of being and serving that emerges from their deepest gifts and challenges. When you encounter someone you're meant to be with, you often discover that your individual life tasks are pieces of a larger puzzle that creates something more meaningful than either could create alone. This realization often develops gradually. At first, you might simply notice that your partner supports your individual goals and dreams in unusually effective ways. They might offer perspectives that help you clarify your direction, connections that open new opportunities, or simply the emotional support that makes pursuing your purpose feel possible and worthwhile. But as the relationship deepens, something more profound emerges. You begin to see that your partner's gifts naturally complement your own in ways that suggest you were meant to work together towards something larger than either individual purpose. If you're naturally gifted at inspiring others but struggle with practical implementation, your partner might be naturally gifted at turning visions into reality. If you're drawn to healing work but lack certain skills, your partner might bring exactly the capabilities needed to make your healing more effective. This doesn't mean you lose your individual identity or stop pursuing personal goals. Instead, you discover that your personal development and your partner's development naturally support each other in service of something larger. Your individual growth makes you better able to support the shared purpose. The shared purpose provides context and meaning that accelerates your individual development. Many couples report that when they embrace this shared purpose, their individual talents and capacities expand in unexpected ways. They find themselves able to do things they never imagined possible, not because they're sacrificing their individual nature, but because they're expressing it in a larger context that brings out capabilities they didn't know they had. This shared purpose doesn't have to be grandiose or world-changing, although sometimes it is. It might be as simple as creating a loving family, building a business that serves your community, or modeling what healthy relationship looks like for others. The key is that it feels meaningful to both of you and seems to require both of your unique contributions. Jung observed that couples who discover this shared purpose often report feeling that their relationship has a life and momentum of its own. Opportunities arise that neither could have created individually. Resources appear when needed. The right people show up at the right times. It's as if the universe conspires to support what they're trying to create together. This final sign often brings the previous 10 into clear focus. The recognition, synchronicities, shadow work, shared dreams, authenticity, altered time, transformation, healing, values, and energy all reveal themselves as preparation for this ultimate collaboration. Everything you've experienced together has been building toward this recognition of shared purpose and the unique contribution you can make together. As we reach the end of our exploration of these 11 signs, it's important to remember that Jung's approach to meaningful relationships was never about finding someone perfect or discovering a relationship without challenges. Instead, it was about recognizing when you've encountered someone with whom you can do the deep work of becoming who you're truly meant to be. The signs we've discussed, from immediate recognition to shared purpose, aren't guarantees of easy happiness. They're invitations to embark on one of life's most profound journeys, the mutual exploration of human potential through intimate connection. Jung understood that truly meaningful relationships are laboratories for psychological and spiritual development, places where we can explore the depths of human experience in ways that simply